everyone. Hi folks, this is Mrs. Z coming to you from my kitchen today. I'm going to make some cookies. I realized that we're stuck at home, can't go to the grocery store, but you might be hungry for some cookies. So I picked a recipe. This is one of my favorite recipes, peanut butter cookie recipe. And if you know me, I love peanut butter. So it's a recipe, one of my favorites, and it's with ingredients that you probably have on hand, so you can whip this up and have some peanut butter cookies. So we're going to start off. So now I did my mise en place, meaning that I have everything ready in front of me. I have pretty much everything measured, just for a couple things I want to talk about when I measure them. But I have my measuring tools out, I have my mixing bowl out. Now I'm not going to bake these quite yet because I'm going to chill the dough. Now when you're making cookies, it's always a good idea to chill the dough because it prevents your cookies from flattening out too much when you go ahead and bake them. So I'm not going to preheat my oven yet. My cookie dough is going to have to chill for about 3 hours, so we'll get to that later. So let's start off with mixing our ingredients. So I'm going to start off with my egg, just one egg. That's going to go into my mixing bowl. Now we're moving on to the peanut butter. Now I'm just using regular old creamy peanut butter here. As suggested by the recipe, just your regular, just kind of basic peanut butter. Natural peanut butter might not always work well for you with this recipe. I'm going to take my handy dandy rubber scraper because I know that peanut butter is a solid ingredient that needs to be packed. So peanut butter needs a little bit of help when we're putting it into our measuring cups. So I'm going to use my rubber scraper to get it into my measuring cup, and then I'm going to use my rubber scraper to get it out of my measuring cup when I put it into my mixing bowl. This recipe is also a great recipe because we can mix it all in one bowl. We don't have to, we're not making a lot of dishes, kind of one bowl. And we also don't need a mixer for this. We can do this all by hand with a wooden spoon. So that makes this a good recipe, an easy one to do at home. And also why one of those recipes is one of my favorites. Just has a really, really creamy, really peanut buttery flavor, which I love. As I said before, I love peanut butter. So it's good for that. My delicious desserts students, we watched a video a couple weeks ago where she made we watched a cookie video where she made peanut butter cookies. This recipe is very similar to that. So 1 cup of peanut butter in my dry measuring cup. Use my rubber scraper to pack it into my measuring cup. Now I'm going to use my rubber scraper to scoop it out of my measuring cup and into my mixing bowl. And remember, at this point we have your 1 egg already in your mixing bowl. So we want to get all of your peanut butter out of here. Don't want to let any of that peanut butter go to waste. So that's again why I'm using my rubber scraper. So we'll get all that peanut butter out. So there is my peanut butter. Now, next on my list is going to be my brown sugar. Now, a couple different ways we can measure brown sugar. First, we're going to start with our dry measuring cup. Now, I personally keep my brown sugar in the bag. So what I like to do is you stick the measuring cup inside the bag. With your other hand, you can kind of press it into your measuring cup. Because again, brown sugar is another ingredient that we need to pack when we measure it. It's just not going to really take the shape of our measuring cup as some of our other ingredients would, so we need to help it out a little bit. So again, this is 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. And again, I'm just pressing it into my measuring cup using my hand on the outside of the bag. Now, let's say that you keep your brown sugar in you put it in a canister, some type of container. In that case, you would just want to take a spoon, you would put it into your measuring cup, you would press it down, add some more brown sugar, press it down, add some more brown sugar, because again, we want to pack your brown sugar into your measuring cup. So I got a nice level top on my brown sugar. So that is going to go into my mixing bowl. Next is my granulated sugar, your white sugar. Might just call it, in a recipe, might just say sugar, might say granulated sugar, might say white sugar. It's all the same thing. Again, I'm using my dry measuring cup here. Notice I have my flat level top. Ideally, we want to use a metal spatula to level this off. If you don't have a metal spatula at home, you can just use a regular old butter knife, kitchen knife, to just level that off. So that's going to go in. Next is my vanilla, so I need 2 teaspoons of that. Now, do I want to measure my vanilla right over my mixing bowl? No, okay? So you don't want to, if you spill over a little bit, you don't want to have all that extra vanilla in there. So I'm just going to do this over to the side. I can even do it right over my sink. So 1 and 2 into my mixing bowl. Next is going to be my leavening agent. So I'm going to use baking soda for this recipe. Now let's talk about the difference between baking soda and baking powder. They are both leavening agents, which means they're going to cause our baked goods to rise, but they are not interchangeable. So if you have, let's say you're at home, you have baking powder, but your recipe calls for baking soda, you can't use one for the other. Baking powder is going to need an acid to react, so something like vinegar, something like lemon juice, even chocolate acts to react with your baking soda. Baking powder already has the acid in it, so it just needs a liquid to react. Now in our case, our brown sugar is going to act as our acid here, so I am just going to use my baking soda, and I need half a teaspoon of that. Now we can use a little level here. Kind of the box creates a level right for you, so I'm just going to run that across the top, half a teaspoon into my mixing bowl. And last of my ingredients is going to be my salt. Now I'm going to get the knife out to level this off. Same thing with the vanilla. We don't want to measure this right over your mixing bowl because you could end up with a lot of salt and we don't want salty cookies. So I'm just going to do this right over my sink. And actually the salt, if you spill a little bit extra salt, it can help deodorize your sink, help clean your sink drain out. Okay, so notice how I'm just running my kitchen knife right over the top to level it off. That's going to go into my mixing bowl. And that is all of my ingredients. So I am going to grab a wooden spoon. And I'm just going to go ahead and mix this up. Now, you might need a little bit of muscles here because you have the peanut butter. Peanut butter is going to be sticky. But again, like I said, this is a great recipe because you don't need a mixer. You don't need a KitchenAid mixer. You don't need a hand mixer. You're really just using your arms to mix everything together. So we're just going to mix all that until everything is incorporated together. Now I have some peanut butter. You can see here I kind of have some peanut butter stuck on the sides of my bowl, so I'm going to grab a rubber scraper and I'm going to scrape that down. Just as we would if we were going to be making a cookie recipe with flour, we want to scrape down your sides because we want all of that flour to be incorporated into your mixture. So that looks pretty well mixed. My egg is broken. All of my ingredients are incorporated together. Now, might be very tempted to eat this. Okay, it's peanut butter. It looks delicious. We have raw egg in here. We don't want to go ahead and eat it. Raw eggs, salmonella, not good. Okay, so don't go ahead and eat this. Again, I know it's very tempting, but as I say in class, no, you cannot eat the raw cookie dough. So at this point, I have all my ingredients in my mixing bowl. I'm going to cover it with saran wrap. I'm going to put this in the fridge for about 3 hours. Can go anywhere from 3 hours up to, recipe states, about 5 days. So if you want to maybe bake a tray of this, have some cookies, bake a tray tomorrow, that's up to you. But again, we want to chill because chilling your cookie dough is going to, when we bake it, it prevents it from flattening out too much and we don't want pancake cookies here. So again, in the freezer, 3 hours, cover it with, in the fridge, 3 hours, cover it saran wrap, and we will come back and we will bake. So I'll see you soon. Okay, and we're back. So my cookie dough has been chilling in the fridge for 3 hours, so I am ready to start baking them. Already started by preheating my oven to 350 degrees. It's important that you preheat your oven because we don't want to put our cookies on our cookie tray, throw those in the oven. Then part of the time your oven's, let's say, at 100, then part of it's at 200, then part of it's at 300, so that can really mess with your baking process and make mess with your final product. So we want to always make sure we preheat, unless your recipe says otherwise. Okay, something I forgot to mention earlier, I did a couple things to get me ready to go into the kitchen. If you notice, I have an apron on, I put my hair up, I washed my hands, and I sanitized my counter. So hands, hair, aprons, counter, so we're good to go there. Now, we see my cookie sheet. I'm going to be using parchment paper on my cookie sheet. If you don't have parchment paper at home, you can spray. For this particular recipe, you can spray it with non-stick spray. Your cookie sheet just helps your cookies come off a little bit easier. I personally like parchment paper because it makes for really easy cleanup. The cookies don't stick to it. You don't have to scrub your cookie sheet then. So I'm just going to be using that. Now, 2 methods we can use for getting our cookie dough onto our cookie sheet. First one is with a cookie scoop, which looks like a little mini ice cream scoop. This is really great for portion control because we want all of our cookies to be about evenly sized, about the same size, so they bake evenly. So you don't want to have a really huge cookie that's going to take longer than a really small cookie, and then they're all on the same cookie sheet, and then the smaller one gets burnt and the really big one's not cooked all the way through. So cookie scoops really help with that we can portion out our cookie dough so all of our cookies are going to bake in the same time. So I'm going to take scoop of my cookie dough, put that onto my cookie sheet. Want to be careful that I'm not putting it too close to the edges, and then when I keep scooping these, I also want to make sure that they are not too close together. We want about 2 inches between our cookies. These cookies are drop cookies, because of our mixture of our ingredients. These are going to spread, so 2 inches apart, having that 2 inches apart prevents it from them from touching each other or kind of molding into one giant cookie. So first option we can do is use our cookie scoop. Let's say you don't have a cookie scoop at home, we can do the 2 spoons method. Okay, so what we do with this, you scoop some of your cookie dough with 1 spoon, and then we would push off with the other spoon onto your baking sheet. Now this way we don't get quite as well off with our portion control, that we might have some even different sized cookies, but it works just as well as our cookie scoops. I personally prefer, so I'll do that again to show you. So scoop with one onto one cookie, onto 1 spoon, and then we push off with the other onto your cookie sheet. I personally prefer the cookie scoop method. I think it's a lot quicker too, so I'm going to do that. So again, about 2 inches, depending on your cookie sheet. You might get 3 across by 4, might get 3 by 3. With my cookie sheet, I'm going to shoot for about 4 across, and probably I can do about 4 down. So I would just continue scooping all my cookie dough. Once you get to the bottom of your mixing bowl, always a good idea to get your rubber scraper out. Scrape everything you can get out of your mixing bowl. We don't want to let anything go to waste, so we always want to do that. Now, when these are ready to go into the oven, option you have, you can take a fork and you can kind of press these down a little bit, flatten them out a little bit. Peanut butter cookies kind of have those characteristics of the crisscross pattern with the fork, so you can do that, or you can just leave them as they are. I'm just going to leave them as they are. So these are going to go into the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes, depends on your size. If you're using a larger cookie scoop, or maybe you're doing the 2-spoon method and they're a little bit on the bigger side, they might need more time. They might need even more time than the 10 minutes, depending on your size. So I have some done over here. So this is going to be our final product. Here's our peanut butter cookies. When these are done, so our 8 to 10 minutes, we can leave these on the cookie sheet. When our 10 minutes are done, they might almost look like they're still undercooked a little bit. I would suggest leaving these on the cookie sheet at least 10 minutes to cool. You can even leave them on here the entire time to cool. Leaving them on the cookie sheet just kind of helps them harden up a little bit, solidify a little bit, so that when you pick them up, they're not going to fall apart. Most cases when we're making a baked good, we don't want to leave it in the pan because that pan's hot. In our case, our cookies have been in a 350-degree oven for 10 minutes, so it's going to hold on to that heat. So we would want to transfer them to a cooling rack, a wire cooling rack. In our case, like I said, we're just going to leave them on the cookie sheet to cool. So that's it for our peanut butter cookies. Again, ingredients that you might have on hand. Can take a little bit of time because you're chilling your dough, but gives you a really great peanut butter cookie flavor, and I hope you enjoy. So good luck on your fit assignments. Get those done, get those turned in, and we'll hopefully see each other soon. Again, if you have any other suggestions for anything, any videos you want to see, let me know. I will put the recipe for this in the description of the video, so if you want to make this at home, you can. Feel free to send me your pictures. If you're cooking other stuff at home, feel free to send me your pictures. And as always, be good, be nice, be kind, folks. See you soon.